I'm Ian Rush and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Time to talk some transfers. And once again, it's more out speculated than ins, but let's start with one in, potentially anyway. It would be reported that Alvaro Pereira, Porto fullback, Liverpool, are apparently interested in him. That you googled him.
I googled him. Once you put in Alvaro, you got Alvaro Arbeloa came up.
So he's only the second best Alvaro. He's only the second best Alvaro in the world.
It's a very famous name, Pereira. I think in Brazilian and Portuguese football, there have been a lot of Pereiras over the years.
Excellent.
But I had a look at him, and they reckon he cost 23 million, and you're not going to spend 23 million on a fullback.
Is it euros though? Because we've done that.
30 million euros.
Christ almighty. Well, I did the expert digging I did was thanks to the wonderful world of Wikipedia. And there's a wonderful couple of the facts on there. I mean, the first one, similar to what you said, apparently, he only signed a new contract last season, but he's got a release clause reportedly of, it says 25.7 million. We're not. I mean, fucking hell, he's not Paulo Ferreira and we're not Chelsea. You know what I mean? So that seems ridiculous to me. But what is great about him, because I didn't realise him at the time, is that he would come out and criticise Patrice Evra for during the Suarez Evra affair. Yeah,
get in, lad.
Yeah, because it says here that he heavily criticised Patrice Evra for reporting alleged racist abuse from his national team colleague Luis Suarez, including the claim from Evra that Suarez doesn't speak to black players. Saying that what happens on the pitch stays on the pitch, adding that the French would have to wear body armour if the players' future international friendly was to take place immediately instead of late 2012. So it was him, he was the one who come out of the French, yeah, which I think is brilliant. So well, get him signed.
If they drop his fee to about 2.3 million.
So now there you go. If he comes, he's already cut his favour.
Fullback stroke wing back, isn't he? So obviously he's a bit of a marauder up and down, so you can see the attraction.
Oh, well,
he can cross the ball and.
I think he's a left back.
Well, you said left back earlier. Well, I think that's the issue, isn't it? I think Jose Enrique. I think again he looked amazing at the start of last season, Enrique. But I wonder how much of that was because we just hadn't had a good old-fashioned solid left back in recent memory. Just so amazing the way he just shoulders players off the ball.
So strong, like
he's fantastic.
It was more his going forward that was the problem, wasn't it? He stopped being able to pass the ball, and he stopped understanding when he should get rid of the ball.
Yeah,
you know. And
you'd hope that
if you've never seen anyone hold on to the ball as long as Jose Enrique.
Ryan Babel.
Good point. Good point. I don't like the guy, but he's got a good point.
Yeah. Amazing. You feel the love. Feel the love. Anyway, I'm so glad I've got an agenda in front of me because you've completely derailed me train of thought. No, the left back situation is definitely interesting. I think very much Jose Enrique. I'm fine to keep him. I'd like him as our second choice left back. I'd like him to be the one who plays against the Wiggins.
That kid Robinson was like 3 years older, because I don't think there'd be a problem because he looks fantastic.
He does look like he's got real potential, and again the benefit of playing in a very similar system at youth level is that he should be able to make the step up. There was a thing about Jose Enrique. That was it. He's Spanish. He obviously wants to play for the Spanish national side. So this could prove to his benefit in that regard if he's playing in a similar system at club level. So you never know if he has any pretenses.
If he plays well.
Well, if he's good, but if he's got any pretenses of being a Spanish international, then he's got to step his game up this season. Yeah. And with no better system to be playing in if he wants to do it as well. There you go. Power of positive thought, yes. Anyway, Craig Bellamy, this rumour's been off and on all summer. Apparently Cardiff.
According to the Echo tonight, is a done deal.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a really strange one because you had a point at the beginning of the season. He was signed up to Warrior, wasn't he? Mm. So you were like, he's definitely not going. He's signed up to Warrior. I was like, that's a fucking good point.
Yeah, Kenny, if you're watching, we'll take up his deal.
Said he wants to finish his career at his hometown club.
Well, I think that was always his idea, wasn't it? And I think he's nice to have the opportunity to come back to us.
The performances in the Olympics, I mean, he could make a fabulous impact on the right of a three up front for Liverpool, but the question is, would he play very often you know, would he be fit to play often enough?
He can't play 2 games in 7 days either, can he?
No,
actually he did for Great Britain though, didn't he?
And that's probably why he's going to have to play in the Championship next year after doing that. Well, think about it. He was finished after January for us, wasn't he? You know, he gave everything when Suarez was out. He was our go-to guy, and I think we fucked him basically for us.
Blowing out of his arse for 4 months.
His recuperation period stretched out a little bit, but no, I think that'll be a real shame. I think it's a great option.
He's been great since he's been, well, even before he left in the first place. But you know, that game against City away was just unbelievable. He was
out of this world, wasn't he? Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah. Well, actually, before we move on, the point again, we've talked about this on the subscriber show, is that one, you know, it's another player out, it's another forward out, and if Andy Carroll's going, Dirk Kuyt's already gone. You know, potentially we had no centre forwards anyway. And while we brought Barini, and that's 3 out the door, but only 1 in, and we were probably 1 short anyway.
The classic was you had to have 4 forwards in your club, you know, to survive a season. If you're going to play 3 up front, you know, you really got to have some alternatives. You know, because what happens if Suarez gets injured?
Yeah.
You know, or Barini, then who are you replacing them with for the rest of the season?
Nathan Eccleston.
Or Morgan.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. There's a question. You know. Is it a case that maybe Adam Morgan might be considered, if not like in the first team, but he becomes the 4th choice, and now we've got Suarez and Barini, and then it's a case of finding whoever that 3rd choice centre forward is. Maybe time's probably going to tell on that one. I just think it'd be a shame. I really like, as I said, we said off camera before, Bellamy's personality counts for a lot as well, and the fact that he gets referees on his side is something that, like I said, if Luis Suarez could learn how to do that, he would go a long way to repairing his reputation in the Premier League, certainly. Okay, moving on. Actually, we have been linked with a striker. I think it might have been TalkSport who linked this one, so believe what you will, but apparently Olympiacos striker Kevin Mirallas. Now, a few people have mentioned him to me on YouTube. Have you had a look?
Belgium. He's supposed to be the Belgian Ronaldo.
Which one?
Fat.
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he's definitely he's prolific.
He's tricky.
Yeah.
And he scores, for Olympiacos, he scored a lot of goals, and didn't necessarily score a lot before that, but certainly with them he scored a lot of goals.
Interesting point, I noted that he was the top goal scorer in Turkey last season. I would guess he was 2nd top goal scorer. Any shouts?
Barros.
Melon Barros? No. But a former Liverpool player?
Harry Kewell?
No. You're never going to get this in a million years. We've got 5 seconds, because I realise this is dead air.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Sebastian Leto.
Wow. How many goals behind?
Only a couple. Like, Leto was top goal scorer. He scored something like 17 and 16 games, or 16 and 17 appearances, and then he got injured last season. Leto up front, like, for Panathinaikos, I think it was, like. So yeah, there you go. So basically, this guy's great, but he's only slightly better than a player that didn't even get better. They got like 1 first team appearance or something. 2 for.
It's a lot about Greek football, maybe. I don't know.
You couldn't get a watch colour though, because he could wear pants.
I know, he had his wear permit issues. Come on, Dave, don't damage the comedy. Damaging comedy with facts, don't get the two confused. Anyway, we've discussed Daniel Agger to Man City in depth on the subscriber show. Obviously, the ongoing conversation is raging on social media platforms. If you want to get involved in the conversation, we've done it to death on the subscriber show. It's on the redmentv.com. It's free for the month, and it's £2 thereafter. I'm sure you know this by now, but you know what, give it a whirl, because it's definitely worth a watch. We'll talk a little bit about it now for those who are too tight to check it out on the subscriber
Agger
show.
out.
There you go.
£22 million. He's been fit for 1 season out of 5. Yes, he's a cultured left back. He hasn't scored since 2000.
And a centre back.
That's it. And a centre back. Thanks, Paul.
Is it ready? Yeah, good. 2 positions. Anyway, carry on. Train of thought.
Yeah.
Roy Hodgson's favourite left back.
Yeah. No, the point this tries to make is, I think there's a certain level of nostalgia about Daniel Agger as a player. We know he's a top quality centre half. He was probably the best centre half at the Euros, arguably anyway, if not one of them. He's a great player, but for £22 million, can you afford to have a player who's injury prone on your books?
Yeah, well,
the shrug of the shoulders says it all.
No, I think for 22 million, for a player who's never really fit, you'd have to really consider it, wouldn't you? Even though I'd hate to see him go, because I do think he adds a lot to the team. Giving us an extra man in midfield sometimes coming forward. 22 million is a lot of money.
That's it. And given the choice, I mean, I know Martin Scale's not as talented a footballer, but if you had to sell one of the two, your heart says you sell Scale. But the realist that if you look at the football of Scale doesn't get injured. Shit. doesn't get first one of the season.
I'd like to keep them both because I think they're a great partnership and I'd like to continue. But if we're going to sell one player, then I think I'd end up selling the one who's injury prone.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it.
We've had too many injury prone players over the last few seasons.
And this is exactly the point, isn't it? So I think we're in begrudging agreement that
we should sack the physio.
We should sack the physio. Yeah.
We've sacked all them Australians anyway, haven't we, over the last few years?
Yeah. Well, hopefully
they were to blame.
Maybe. Let's hope not. If we sell Agger, let's hope he is just crocked. No, because that's it. You don't want to see another player go on.
Rodgers has made that when he didn't play last week. He said it was because he's had a lot of injuries, and we want to, make sure that he doesn't have any more.
Yeah, it makes a good point. And apparently, he played that. We said he played that. They arranged the behind closed doors game specifically for him to get him back fit, because I still think we will keep all of our best players, and I think he will form an integral part of our back four this season.
But you do wonder why would they spend? Presumably they must have paid Rochdale, whoever it was, to come and play the behind closed doors game. Why didn't they just play him against goal? Why arrange an extra game?
Well, that's it. I mean, it is a bit. It is
literally was wrapped in cotton wool.
Just lay him down on the edge of the 18-yard box. And Jamie Carragher come in and just push him along a bit, like, yeah. Well, maybe.
We'll never know. It's behind closed doors.
We'll never know. If you were behind those closed doors, please do let us know. That would be fantastic. Anyway, we'll move on. As I say, if you want to know more about Agger, do watch the subscriber show. One that's come back, and this was roundly poo-pooed when I brought it up on the Transfer Rumour Roundup a couple of weeks ago. But it's come back on the agenda, is Ibrahim Afellay. Apparently his agent has said, despite the fact that Tito Villanova has been playing in pre-season, has said he's in his plans, his agent has contradicted that by saying he might be up for a loan move.
They reckon they played him a lot in pre-season because all the other players have been in the European Championships.
Well, I suppose it makes a point when 90% of your team makes up the...
So when they all come back, he won't play. But then the whole of Europe would want him on loan, wouldn't they?
That's it.
Can't be a team who wouldn't want to take him.
There's an interest...
Not on loan, everyone will be queuing up.
Well, there's an interesting point. It's something I touched on the subscriber show. Randomly enough, I bumped into Ian here the other day, and I was chatting to him, and I mean, whilst it wasn't an official conversation, I saw there's certain things that I didn't get anything particularly juicy, but he basically intimated as much to me that the problem that we face is that there are players out there who just want to play Champions League football.
Yeah.
And whether and I know we've had this issue with, like, this was like goes back to Mata last season. It's not that kind of situation, but there are simply just players. We can lure players with the fact that it's Liverpool, and he said there are players out there who are like, oh, it's Liverpool, but I really want to play Champions League football. And the problem is because we've not guaranteed it. We haven't been in it for years now, and there's no guarantee we'll have it next season either. There are, and with agents with muttering things in players' ears, there will be so much going on in players' heads, and we'll be thinking, well, I've only got a limited shelf life as a top level footballer. Can I afford to run the risk of being a club that's not going to be pressing for the Champions League? And again, the thing is, people think we're going to be back in the Champions League. We're not going to go back to being semi-finalists every season either. There's no guarantee of that. If we get in there, we've still got to remember how to play in Europe as well.
We play, and you build up your coffers, don't you, by being in the Champions League, and that helps you to buy other players, so on, you get better.
Definitely. But the interesting thing about the loan move, that does fit in with what Rodgers was saying this week, that Liverpool are considering loan options, and Rodgers basically said there's actually quite a lot of really good players available on the market. We've been putting feelers out and seeing who we can get and who we can't get, and he's not above Chris getting getting players in on loan.
But he should be looking at loan deals at the moment if we're worried about money and stuff. But
well, everyone's looking for loan deals for our fucking players, aren't they? So why don't we take advantage of it?
Can we get Adebayor on loan?
Has that gone through? Does anyone know? Is that Adebayor's that permanent to Spurs? Yeah.
He was balking at the money, wasn't he?
Yeah, he said it's too much money.
I'd have him in a heartbeat. I said this 2 years ago. We should have had him. But yeah, you know, I don't know who these players are yet. I'm sure that there'll be countless rumours around this. I'd
like Affley though on a loan.
That kind of player. We discussed this already, haven't we? That if he's good enough to be signed by Barcelona, he's definitely good enough to be at Liverpool, who are a Europa League side certainly. The last one again, just an update. We've had no Carroll updates. Makes a change. This is the shortest we've spoken about Andy Carroll all summer. Let's leave it that way. Eh?
It's been lovely.
We did. Mary was going to come on the show this week, but not until the Carroll saga is resolved. I don't think she can bring herself.
She wouldn't put makeup on anymore.
Just until
Carroll commits himself, she's not putting makeup.
Won't leave her room. So now hopefully Mary should be back. If not next week, then certainly the week after. Yeah, the one that is rumbling on though is still Joe Allen. Laudrup has apparently come out and said, and is this a quote? Yes, it is. He basically they rejected apparently John Joe Shelby on a year loan as part of the deal, and he said he's not interested in any players that aren't first 11 players for Liverpool, which I thought was a bit big-headed of him. You know,
a bit nasty on Shelby as well. It's squad, isn't it?
You bastard, like, yeah.
12.5 million plus Shelby on loan was, you know,
so what's he want? Suarez?
If we could have Suarez, we have good players here and they have good players, but I can't see a player not in the starting 11 at Liverpool being in the starting 11 in our team. Ouch.
He's got a point though, in fairness, from where we finished last season to them.
Yeah, maybe so. Like, I think he's talking a big pile of poo there, like, to be perfectly honest.
He's at a new club, he wants to get fans on side. Yeah. Is there a better way than insult us?
Saying the right thing.
Yeah, most
right. If that was our manager, I'd be happy.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think he said he wanted a big offer, and that was the barrier money,
basically.
But hasn't he got a 15 million release clause in his contract?
This is all cloak and dagger shit. This, isn't it? Like, you know, so there was that one. It was 15, and then it was 15 for top 4 clubs, but not for other top 4 clubs. Except that Liverpool were counted as a top 4 club. It's 10 million if you Spurs, and then who were a top 4 club? It sounds like Hugh Jenkins has done some very interesting.
It's an awful lot of money for him, to be honest. But I think we may have to bite the bullet and pay it.
Well, this is it. The fact of the matter is, if it's someone we definitely want, and he really wants, and he thinks is vital to the system, then fine. I trust the manager to know what he wants and the kind of player that he's after, and that's what it's going to boil down to. But the problem is because we spent similar money on Jordan Henderson and he didn't thrill people from the off. There's a big worry that we're paying over the odds for another young player who's not going to come in and be well.
I think he's more formed than Henderson was when he came. Henderson had one good season for Sunderland, and his style of play, I think, doesn't necessarily fit perfectly into Liverpool. He's going to have to develop. And, whereas I think what I've seen of Allen, he's already a bits and pieces player. He's all over the pitch. He passes, you know, short passes, supports people, follows on when he passes. You know, so he's got a game which you could see being quite useful for us.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I think the lads will finish up. He said they might want to do it because they can pay less money, which is amazing. A wonderful little sniper our loan deal. But yeah, you know, again, I think 15 million is it's just extortionate, isn't it? And the problem is that it all depends on how much money we've got to spend cumulatively, and you don't want that to be your big buy of the summer. But the Newcastle argument. We've made it before, we'll make it again. You know, at the end of the day, if he comes in and it's more about getting the right pieces to the puzzle than getting someone who's amazing, who can't fit into what it is you're trying to do. Because you could go out and you could, you know, let's say Kaka's apparently on the market. You know what? Let's go throw 30 million and buy Kaka. But what if he doesn't know how? What if he can't play in the system? Sounds daft because it's Kaka, he should be able to. But what if he can't? I saw flashes that said that Steven Gerrard can't play in it against Gommel. There's a worry, you know what I mean? So we might just be better off finding the right, as I say, as Rafa would say, the right leg rather than the most
Has anyone heard anything more about Clint Dempsey? Because that seems to have gone very quiet.
Very, very, very quiet. It was again another point that was sort of made to me. I don't think he fits in with the player we're looking for. You know, position-wise, but he's 29. I just don't see that we're going to be spending the money that they want for him. I can't see us buying players of that sort of age. I
wonder whether he wants to play him as on the right of his three up front. You know,
he's exactly the kind of player that we should have in the squad. And we've said this last season. We've said it, and it's more so given the likes of Maxi Dirk, potentially Bellamy and stuff going out, is that we're really, really short of attacking talent. And he'd be a great player to have. He'd be a good 10 goal a season.
Goal season.
What worries me about him and Allen is that, and Sinclair as well from Swansea, they're sort of, again, flavour of the month players. They had a good season last season.
Yeah.
And last season we bought the 3 players who'd had a good season the season before.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't guarantee they're going to be any good.
Yeah.
You know, they need consistency over a longer period. But
I said as well, there's also a thing to be said for the problem with buying players from the Premier League is that people know about them already. There's no surprise factor. There's no fear factor. No defender in the Premier League wakes up on a Saturday morning and thinks, shit, I'm playing against Clint Dempsey today, I best be on the top of my game. Now maybe the ones who don't think like that are probably the ones who conceded goals to last season, was the counter argument, of course. But I
say at the end of last year you wouldn't have wanted to be a centre back, would you? Newcastle.
Oh, sorry, yes, I was thinking of Gibril. But that thing is, but then again, look at that argument. Oh, so many people going ape shit when Gibril Cisse went back to QPR, and what did he do? Got sent off quite a bit. You know, and that looked quite good against us. But that's the thing, isn't it? You know, it ties into this whole the hysteria thing that we've talked about at length on the subscriber show. Another one of our great topics is the social media hysteria, so another reason to watch. But we're going to round up the transfers there. We don't know anything more about Clint Dempsey. When we do, trust us, we will pass on the information in a timely fashion. So yet another weakness. No more players in. It's exciting, this, isn't it?
It's really boring. It's really boring.
Let's get onto Twitter right away and start complaining.
Yeah, God.
Start a movement.
I know. Well, the thing is, and I said this, and this is what I want to round up on with the transfer rumours so far. Let's not get too bent out of shape about this. The problem is that there's still a lot of business to be done. There's always the vast majority of the business gets done toward the back end. New manager, new scouting system, all this coming in. We've had to identify a certain amount of new targets, so it doesn't surprise me that we've not got all our business boxed off early on.
And a lot of them have been in, you know, European Championships and Olympics and stuff. So,
and again, the squad that we've got, you know what I mean. He's not been able to have a full look at the players at his disposal until the last 2 weeks, anyway. So we don't even know if we've finished getting rid of players yet before we're going to bring any more in. So yeah, time's going to tell on that. So keep cool, people, and what's the subscriber show? Anyway, thanks very much. We're going to move on.